freedom. It is so ethereal. It is so metaphorical. It was something which I wanted to achieve for my client. It was in 2012. My client called me up and he said, listen, I bought this farm. His love for the nature, his love for the animals, because that's exactly what he was looking forward to. And it's lovely to see the way he engages with the farm. Hi, I'm Girish Karnawat. I'm an architect practicing in Mangalore. Right now I'm sitting in one of the projects done by me. It's called Moon House. For detailed chapters and PDF, you could refer buildofy.com. So project's located in a village called Ulaibettu and it's 17 kilometers from Mangalore. At this junction, you start coming down these areas which are paddy fields, and then come on to this area which is basically the bank of Gurpur river. And the idea was initially to build the house somewhere in this zone. 2 monsoons went by. We saw a lot of flood water or rather rising water of the river coming into the fields. So then he said, can we renovate one of the houses? Where we are sitting right now was a cowshed. The contractor didn't really understand what we're trying to do with the existing old walls and the new walls. He broke all the old walls and built a new wall instead. And so the whole purpose or the essence of stitching or renovation was completely lost. And I spoke to the doctor. I said, such a thing is a possibility. So why don't we actually focus on building a new house? The only condition was, can we work with the existing plinth? I said, fine. This is the point where you enter the property from. This whole area is the pond where the natural pond was recreated, that was lost once upon a time. In the process, we realized after we removed all the rubble that it's full of rocks. The whole idea was that it should be able to breathe with the groundwater, especially during monsoon. And eventually it should get lined with the clay. And these steps, as you see in the model, are nothing but the retaining wall, which are made of laterite, and it's completely a dry masonry. There's absolutely no use of cement, sand, concrete reinforcement.
When I met Girish, the first idea was to rejuvenate the pond. And even these fishes, they were brought from one of those lakes which is supposed to undergo refurbishing.
This becomes the entrance point of the property. What you face right now when you enter is this big sliding shutters. Then you come inside, this becomes the kitchen area. As you move in further, come into this area and this divides into 2 bedrooms. Master bedroom has an attached bathroom. Both the bedrooms open out into a rear veranda which overlooks its own courtyard, which is what we call as the rear courtyard. And it's got this beautiful coconut trees which are always existing, with a planter or a seat condition, which in the local language is what is termed as katte. This becomes your dining. This is the living room. This is more like a lounge area. All of these things open out into the paddy fields. This entire thing opens out here also towards the pond, and this opens out into the rear courtyard. And then you come out of this entire lounge area into this courtyard, which becomes like a get-together place. What you see here is actually an edge to the property. After this, our neighbor's property begins. The whole idea was to mark the boundary, but keep it very loose and very perforated. And that's the whole idea why this entire brick jali was created, in order to provide the client a little bit of a privacy. And onto my right is this overhead water tank, which goes almost about 35 feet high. There is a little spiral staircase which takes you up onto what was a roof for the veranda, now becomes almost like a terrace one can occupy. I have always been a modern regionalist, so that's what my focus is always. So this entire idea of the roof was also to express a bird taking off. So the rainwater actually flows into this channel. This is one RCC element which is existing on site. So the water that goes into this gutter comes all the way down into this round cutout that is created, which goes into this cylinder that you see at the bottom, which then becomes almost like a rainwater shower. I went with what was available locally, which is laterite, which is the primary building block, and then we have brick factories all around Mangalore. So brick was another thing. There are a lot of these old houses which are being pulled down now, and the old timber was brought both from the cowshed as well as from people, the merchants who deal with the old timber, and it was recycled, resized, refitted. So say if I had to achieve a 18 feet rafter, I could join 3 pieces with the construction and turn it into 18 feet. One of the things that doctor had mentioned through this journey of our interaction was he really wanted to get this red oxide flooring, which is typically in local areas called as kavi. We managed to get somebody from Kerala. It took about 45 days, and single-handedly he did this entire flooring. This entire idea of perfection, which is so rooted in the West and Western education, and the way we look at it, so machinistic, so industrial in its roots, actually doesn't work. You must have seen how sometimes foreigners describe Indians. We never say yes, we never say no. We always shake our head, and they can't make out whether you're saying yes or no. But that's how we are. There's this ambiguity of so. When I talk about dimensions, I always now look for dimensions which is in this zone of ambiguity, but not trying to make it contrived, where it is perfect, but you really feel something is wrong or maybe something is away, but you really can't put your finger onto it.
This is how it should be, basically. I mean, it's kind of exposed to the nature and you just walk in and walk out. You don't feel constrained sitting in one place and, in a concrete block. So you just feel free to move around, and even if I host a party or something, my friends come, they also have a great time here.
Finally, what should take over is this entire experience of the space and proportion and scales. The project got completed. You would have got a very clinical picture of this house, very clean, freshly painted house. It would have looked like an object. But 2, 3 years, 4 years down, it looks like a house that is lived in. It has these imperfections. It has a little dampness here. It has some paint peeling off. It has this moss outside, as you can see all of it. And that's what makes it human.